So in 2002, when Konami released Legend of Blue Eyes First Edition in North America, I don't believe it expected it to be the hit that it was. And with the stellar feedback of the release, Konami decided to expand to other regions across the world. This included Europe, Australia, as well as the topic of this video, which is the Asian English regions. This video specifically is going to be part 1 of 3 of Asian English products that were released from Duel Monsters all the way up to 5Ds. In today's video, we're focusing on the Duel Monsters era and differentiating as to why some sets are extremely rare and expensive while others are not. Let's get into it. Alright, so to understand why Asian English exists, we have to go all the way back to 2002, where Legend of Blue Eyes was a smash hit in North America. What happened was corporate Konami received market signals that showed them that there is a huge demand for this product. Alongside increasing the printing quantities of things like Meta Raiders and Magic Ruler, they also decided to expand Legend of Blue Eyes to regions all over the world. So as stated earlier, they expanded to Europe, Australia, and then what we're going to be talking about is the Asian English countries. So Legend of Blue Eyes was the first product, and it came out about 6 months after the regular North American release. Contrary to popular belief, Asian English LOB did not release at the same time as the North American Legend of Blue Eyes. And due to the massive demand of Legend of Blue Eyes in North America, I believe Konami assumed that Asian English would have the same type of feedback, and they decided to print Asian English to pretty much the same quantities as North America, which was a big mistake because that completely flooded the market. It's actually a big reason why a lot of collectors have some distaste for Asian English cards, because they are so extremely common in the aftermarket. It's actually Legend of Blue Eyes alone that left such a bad taste that it basically turns a lot of collectors off on the whole brand image of Asian English cards. However, the same cannot be said for future sets, and this is actually proven in the aftermarket because things like Meta Raiders, Magic Ruler, and Pharaoh's Servant are significantly less abundant than the first edition LOB. You can actually make an argument that even LOB Unlimited, which was the only unlimited Asian English set to exist, is even rarer than the first edition counterpart. And so Konami learned from its mistakes with Legend of Blue Eyes, and afterwards it basically decided with every single release to shorten the supply more and more and more. As we progressed further and further in the Duel Monsters era, we started receiving less and less products. This makes the later 5 to 6 sets of the Duel Monsters Asian English era much rarer than their counterparts, which are the first 4 to 5. You can look on the market right now and you can see that there's almost no Ancient Sanctuary, Invasion of Chaos, Magician's Force, or Dark Crisis cards available on the market in terms of Asian English. What's more interesting is that the later sets of the Duel Monsters era, Secret Rares and Iconic Ultra Rares, actually eclipse the North American versions because of how rare they are. Now, before we get to talking about the cards specifically, I want to mention the sealed products so that you know what to look out for. So first of all, the booster boxes for Asian English cards is a little bit thicker than regular 24-pack booster boxes. They are still both 24 packs, but for some reason, it's just built a little bit different. If I was to compare it to anything, it would probably be very similar to legendary duelist sizes, where you have just a little bit more thickness and you need its own special acrylic or case, that whatever you decide to choose. By the way, if you're looking to protect your own sealed product, I have protectors in the link in the description below. I make them myself. One key identifier for Asian English booster boxes is the Yu-Gi-Oh logo itself on the box. It's actually written in Japanese, not in English. Another more obvious sign is the For Asia banner that you see on the right side of the booster boxes. Now, for the booster packs, the packaging actually looks very different from regular booster packs from North America. You're gonna see that the sealing itself is actually done in a very unique way. There is nothing else on the market that is like that in terms of Yu-Gi-Oh! It is only Asian English products that are sealed in this type of manner. The crimp itself is more of a horizontal line, while on things like North American booster packs, the crimps are vertical. What's interesting is that a lot of counterfeit products, they have the same sealing type as Asian English booster packs. I just thought that was kind of unique. But that's pretty much it. Let's get into the cards now. Cards like Dark Magician Girl can go all the way up to $3,000 to $4,000 in raw condition, when things like North American Magician's Force Dark Magician Girl can only go for like $1,000 to $2,000. There's only one Asian English Dark Magician Girl PSA 10, while there's almost 70 North American versions. The same could be said about Dark Magician of Chaos, Chaos Emperor Dragon, etc, etc. So that's the release. Now let's talk about characteristics of these cards. So first of all, they are printed on Japanese cardstock. This makes the card extremely high quality, a lot more aesthetically pleasing when compared to the North American counterparts. I would argue though that Legend of Blue Eyes, because of the wavy and glossy dynamic, those in my opinion are superior to their Legend of Blue Eyes Asian English counterparts. I'm one of the opinion that the first sets of Yu-Gi-Oh actually have better cardstock than even the Japanese. I just thought that they put a lot of time and effort into these cards and the quality of them is pretty incredible. However, that all goes downhill by the third or fourth set because they start introducing off-centering and waxing on the back. And I do believe that's why a lot of the Asian English variants are a lot more desired than their North American counterparts, and that's simply because they actually have much higher card quality. Another key characteristics of the Duel Monsters era Asian English cards is the back. As you can see on screen, the back Yu-Gi-Oh logo is completely different from both the Japanese as well as the English. They actually have a combination of the two coming together to create the Asian English logo. However, it is important to know that Asian English cards are not considered TCG. They are not viable in the TCG card game and you could only use them in the OCG side. The main reason they were made was because for countries like Malaysia and Singapore who speak English but do not speak Japanese, and yet they're closer to Japan than they are to North America, it makes it very hard, and because of this they decided to introduce the whole Asian English nuance into the market. It's basically to allow players to play the game without having to translate every single card every time. Now the last and one of the coolest aspects of the Asian English dynamic is reverse foils. What's interesting about the sets that proceed after Legend of Blue Eyes first edition is that every single secret rare in these sets is reverse foil by nature. It is not actually a misprint, it is completely intentional. So every single one of the 10 sets that proceed after first edition LOB, they all have reverse foils. If you don't know what reverse foils are, I highly recommend you check out this video here. I go into great detail about it. So for example, if you want to collect every version of Dark Magician Girl and you want a reverse foil version, you're gonna have to go to the Asian English. If you want every single version of, for example, Chaos Emperor Dragon, the only ones that exist in reverse foil are the first edition Asian English. Another interesting fact about the reverse foils is that the unlimited Legend of Blue Eyes was released alongside Metal Raiders, and because of this, there's actually reverse foils in that one, and there are no regular foils, unlimited secret rares of that set. And that also leads me to the fact that Legend of Blue Eyes is the only one that received an unlimited printing. There is no unlimited for any other Asian English set ever. Every single card that you will find with the Asian English back will always be first edition. There was not even enough demand to even release an unlimited. So that's the Asian English Duel Monsters era. There are 11 sets in this era. Legend of Blue Eyes all the way up to Ancient Sanctuary. Every single card matches exactly. The only difference is the back is Asian English. The card stock is just a little bit different for those who are extremely astute about that kind of thing. The secret rares are all reverse foils for all the sets proceeding after Legend of Blue Eyes first edition. And contrary to popular belief, the Asian English LOB first edition set is the only one that is overprinted. Everything else, in my opinion, is extremely rare, especially when you get to those last 4 to 5 sets like Magician's Force, Invasion of Chaos, and Dark Crisis. I would say the most prominent card from this era is the Dark Magician Girl, followed by the trio from Invasion of Chaos. Everything else I would say is pretty subpar, and they don't really carry too much premium on top of the North American versions in the aftermarket. If anything, they are actually cheaper than the North American alternative. But that's pretty much it. Let me know your thoughts about the whole Asian English brand. Are you for it? Are you against it? Are you selective with what you collect in it? What do you think of it overall? I would love to know your thoughts. Comment down below. Like the video if you enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh collecting content. Subscribe to see part 2 and 3 where I cover the GX era as well as the 5Ds era of the Asian English releases. If you want to support the channel further, I have a Patreon and you can also use the links in the description. You can pick yourself up your own Gardner binders that I make myself. You not only get a badass binder, but you also directly support the channel. That's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed and I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.